This video is sponsored by Enviro Elements.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful day. In this video tutorial, I'll create this digital illustration from start to finish while also showing you an incredible new photobashing technique which will really help you add photographic detail in your artwork quickly and effectively. You'll also learn how to use images in 3D to help you in your digital painting or concept art workflow. So without wasting any more time, let's do this. So the first thing I do is to drop a base plate image onto the canvas. This is really helpful because now I can build stuff on top of it and I can take color reference through this base image. After that, I added a photograph of the sky because right now I'm looking to establish some sort of horizon and get the basic sky and water done. I chose a dramatic sky to create more interest in the artwork. Next, I selected a blue color and started painting some rock shapes. These rocks are at a distance, so I used a lighter value of blue for them. Then I moved on to the bigger rock shape in the midground. I used a darker value of blue for this one because it's closer to us as viewers. I also added a little rock to accompany the big one just to add some contrast in terms of size. Now the area in the middle is too empty, so I created some more shapes there. Again, these would be at a distance, so comparatively lighter value is used for them. They are also taller and pointier at the top, so we have a combination of three types of interesting shapes. On the very left we have some shapes that look like distant mountains. On the right side we have some big blocky shapes closer to us. And in the middle we have some really interesting taller rocks that almost look like a man-made structure. Just to balance these shapes out in the composition, we can of course tweak some shapes here and there, view the artwork at a distance and see what looks best to the eye. Now I darken the sky at the top left, create a vignette effect and to keep the viewer's interest in the middle of the composition. This also washed out some details on the sky and added a cool dark cloud effect which I'm really enjoying. I also made a selection around the cloud in the middle, copied it, rescaled it and transformed it to the point where it looked good. I also want to mention that sometimes using a photo as it is in your artwork might limit your creativity when it comes to composition. So you can either change the photo significantly or you can first paint the shapes just like I did for this artwork. After you paint the main shapes and compositions, you can add photographic details later. Let me show you the technique through which we are gonna add those photographic details. We'll do that using something called the layer mask. So let's say I want to have this rock in my painting. I'll fill this rock with a solid color. We'll name this layer as rock shape. Now I have this picture of a rock here. I'll just put it over my rock shape layer. Now it's very important that our rock shape and the photo texture image both are on separate layers. The photo texture layer should be on the top of the painted layer. Now here's what you gotta do. You gotta move your mouse cursor between these two layers, then press and hold the Alt key and then click. See what happens? The photo texture layer is inside the rock shape layer. You can move it, transform it, warp it, experiment with it as much as you like until it looks good. Once you're happy with it, here's what you need to do. Click on this icon which says layer mask right at the bottom of this layers menu. It will add this white box next to your texture layer. Now click on that box and with the black color selected, use your paint bucket tool to fill that black color on your rock. See what happened? The texture is gone. But we're gonna paint the texture back, so choose a texture brush that you like and this time select the white color. Now start painting on the rock and see the magic happen. So for this technique to work in this artwork, it's very important that these rock shapes are on separate layers. Using the same technique that I just showed, I inserted a photograph of this mountain into the shape of those rocks I painted earlier. I transformed it, resized it, moved it around until I felt like it fitted better. Then I created a layer mask, filled it out with black so it disappeared from the canvas, and then selected the white color and painted the underlaying photograph back into the artwork. I'm painting it on the right side of the rock where the light is hitting. If I want to paint back the details, I have to select the white color. And if I want to erase what I painted, I select black. I also adjusted the levels and erased the photo where it's not needed. Now using the same brush tool, if you paint it with black color, it will erase the texture layer, and if you paint it with white, it will add that underlaying texture. This is a really useful technique. I'll be using the same method to create photographic details on all of the other shapes that I painted, starting with the one on the left. This technique saves us a lot of time. Now, some artists might want to hand paint all those details using custom brushes instead of photos, and that's fine too, but that would take a lot of time, and mostly for concept art jobs you don't have much time. You are required to produce results fast and generate ideas very quickly, so you gotta find ways to speed up the process. That's where these photos in 3D come in. They really add a ton of detail in a very little time. Also, it happens very often that you create 2 to 3 artworks, send it to the client, and to them only one is usable, and the other 2 might be discarded. So if you put hours and hours working on that excruciating detail in an artwork and the client just discards it, it'll hurt more. Compared to something you spent a few hours on, you wouldn't worry about that. But this reveals a true fact. The client doesn't give a damn about how long you have spent on the details of those rocks. He doesn't care if you have used custom brushes or photos or 3D. What he's interested in is the final result, the whole artwork. Does it solve a problem for the client? Does it convey the mood? Does it give direction to the 3D artists to work from? If it does, all of the other stuff is not important. So here, as you can see, I've used photo texture on all of the distant mountains, and I've added another rock shape in the middle. So we have the basic composition ready. We have the sky and the sea and the distant mountains. Now we need a pirate ship. I need to get a photograph of a pirate ship exactly for this particular angle. I need it from the back view, and it needs to fit here on the left side of my composition. It should also be copyright free, and it's better if it's a PNG so that I don't have to kill myself making clean selections around all those ropes and stuff. Of course, you can spend several hours looking for the perfect photo to fit into your artwork, but if you're smart and want to save time, you can use a 3D asset from Envato Elements, which is also the sponsor for today's video. If you don't know what Envato Elements is, it's a must-have tool for artists and creatives. They have a huge library of over 52 million assets that you can use in your creative projects, which include royalty-free stock photos, footage, fonts, music, templates, graphics, 3D, and more. Let me show you how it works. So I needed a pirate ship for my artwork. Here on the search bar, I selected 3D and entered pirate ship. It gave me a lot of assets to choose from. I selected the one that I like, rotated it to an angle that I needed, and hit download. This photo was downloaded as PNG, which I can slap right onto my composition in Photoshop. It's that easy. No need to make selections around a photo, no need to waste your time removing background of the image. Just set it to the right angle, download it, and use it in your artwork. You can download as many assets as you want with just one subscription, which is really affordable and worth every dollar. So use the link down in the description to get your subscription now. You won't regret it. Trust me on this one. So now we have the ship in our artwork. I made some color adjustments to the ship, made a selection around it, and on a new layer filled that selection with a dark blue color. Then I created a new layer mask around this layer and painted back the details of the ship, mostly on the right side where the light should be hitting. I also kept some of the areas blue and in shadow with less detail. This really helped the ship fit in the environment better. I also transformed the ship and tried to correct the angle which I felt was slightly off. Then I painted shadow just underneath the ship with a darker color of blue, and also some waves and water splashes using one of my favorite brushes. By the way, if you want to get this free brush pack, please feel free to download it through the link below. I don't think you'd need any other brush if you have this brush pack. It's massive. After that, I'll just be tweaking some levels, correcting some edges, and painting some light and shadow on the ship. Mostly I use only one brush to do that. I call it the father of all brushes. If you want to see that in action, go check out my other video on free brushes and their use. I'll link it here. That video did really well, by the way. You all seem to like it very much. So thank you so much for your appreciation. By the way, if you haven't joined the Discord channel, I'll put a link down in the description for you. You can share your artwork and stuff there. I really enjoy looking at all of your artwork. I also plan to do some paint over videos in the future, so make sure you drop your entries and I might be able to repaint your artwork. There are illustrations that I do for my freelance clients and commissioned work. I can't post them on YouTube because YouTube is for videos, right? So I post those artworks on Instagram. If you haven't followed me there, please do. You'll find so much exclusive content there. Alright, so once I finished working on the ship, I moved on to the sky. I wanted the clouds to be a lot bigger to kind of fill the left side of my composition. I also wanted the whites of the clouds to show behind the ship. It will make the ship's form read better. After that, I refined the edges and I'll add some highlights on the ship, mostly on our right side of those sails. The sails also look very dark at the moment, so I'll add a lighter color at the bottom of them. After that, some more white splashes just underneath the ship and highlights on the water. I added some more splashes on those rocks as well. Next, it's time to work on the big rock on the front. So I found a suitable picture, scaled it up, used the texture of the rocks within that shape I painted. I'll experiment with it, move it around and see where it looks good. Once I'm happy with it, I'll change some settings, play around with levels and color adjustments to make it a bit darker and bluish so that it fits better in the environment. Then I thought I'd paint some highlights, maybe some greens at some of the places on this big rock. So yeah, I'm doing that. The foreground looked too empty, so I painted some more rock shapes in the foreground. I made them relatively darker. I'll work on it later, but first, that distant pointy mountain doesn't look very good to me. It's too distracting, so I just corrected that. And then there are some minor adjustments with the texture of this front rock. I cut a little patch from that photo and pasted it on top of the area where it looked weird, and then corrected the brightness and color temperature to match everything. I felt this rock lacked shadows, so I painted some darks where needed. I often use a soft round brush with a low opacity to create separation between things that are at different distances, just like I did with these rocks. It's a really handy technique and helps a lot in creating some atmospheric perspective in your scenes. I also darkened the water just beneath the big rock and painted some more details on the water waves emerging from the back of the ship. And now I'll be adding a photo texture to the foreground rocks and match color later on using levels, saturation, color balance, and brightness sliders. I also picked up some 3D trees from Enviro Elements, matched their lighting and color to our artwork and put them on the foreground. I darkened the sky from the top left but kept the clouds fairly lighter. After that, I just made some quick little adjustments here and there, and then I selected a light brownish color, set the layers blending mode to color dodge, and painted highlights on different areas, mainly at the top edges of the rocks and even on the background. Lastly, I added some birds and made minor adjustments. Overall, I'm really happy with the result. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you learned something from this video. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Also, don't forget to comment down below to write your thoughts and suggestions. I really enjoy reading your comments. And if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Alright then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.